Sometimes we are just our biggest critic, and it's often easy to see other people's worth, but it's so hard for us to see our own. And when I was younger, I was constantly in a state of panic because I always thought my worth was up for grabs. At any given moment, if something bad happened, I felt like my worth would drop. If I failed at a job interview, then my worth would drop because, I wasn't good enough for the company. The guy I wanted to date didn't want to date me, which means I am unattractive and undesirable. There goes my worth. If my friends or family and I got into a disagreement, there goes my worth. But as I've gotten older, I had a realization that I exist, therefore I am enough. You exist, therefore you have worth. I exist, therefore I have worth. See, my worth cannot be taken from me because my worth is permanent. And the only way my worth will cease to exist is if I cease to exist. The fact that I am here on this earth means I have value. We're all human at the end of the day. So either we all have value or none of us have value. It's all or nothing at this point. You see, we often think that in order for us to have worth, we have to be able to be good at something, right? You don't need to do anything to have value. Like let's take babies, for example. Babies don't do anything. They don't do anything. Nothing. They eat, sleep, and poop. That's it. They just lay around. They have no job. They don't have any friends. Some don't even have a family, but they still have worth, right? We never say babies are worthless. They have worth from the very moment they are born. And that's the thing. You had worth from the very moment you were born. You don't need to be funny. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be pretty. You don't need to be athletic. You don't need to have any friends. You don't need anything to have worth. You don't need anything except to exist. Your worth isn't tied to the things you do or don't possess. Your worth isn't tied to the things that you are or not good at. The Bible says the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Every little bit of hair is numbered on your head, which means everything about you is valuable. You are valuable because of who you are. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if you feel like you are enough or not. You don't have a choice. You are enough. You are enough whether you like it or not because you were born this way. You see, when you don't feel like you are enough, right, you actually feel inadequate, right? It's basically just a feeling of inadequacy. And the reason why you are feeling this way is because you are placing your happiness outside of yourself, you see? You're putting your happiness outside of yourself. So your happiness is contingent on the things that you possess, like your friends, your family, your money, your career, your talents, all of that. You are also becoming super fixated on being accepted by others too, because you become enslaved to the void of your desires, because you are constantly looking for the next thing to fill your desires. This is why celebrities and rich people never feel happy. That's why they never feel fulfilled, and they end up doing super crazy things in life, super risky things in life in order to feel something, right? So that's why people get into drug addiction and porn addiction. But here's the thing. It's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to not be good at something. It's okay to not be where you think you should be in life. Nothing is wrong with you. See, you're going to have days where you don't feel good, okay? There are going to be days where you feel great. There are going to be days where you succeed, and there are going to be days where you fail. But here's the thing. A good life needs bad days too. But seriously, what is wrong with having a bad day? What is wrong with people walking out of your life? What is wrong with not feeling good all the time? You see, we often demonize bad feelings when really we should be grateful for the days when we aren't feeling our best. If we always felt great all the time, we wouldn't be able to tell when we feel good because we wouldn't know what it meant to feel bad. See, we wouldn't know what it's like to cherish the people that come into our life if the people we had never left. There is nothing to be grateful for. If we were constantly in a state of happiness and fulfillment and nobody ever disappointed us and left us, we would eventually forget what it means to be happy and grateful and to cherish the moments of people who did stay. We would never know what it meant to feel sad, to always achieve what we want. It's like someone who grew up poor would be more grateful and happy when they are given food versus someone who grew up wealthy and they always had food at any given moment. There is nothing to look forward to. There is nothing to be grateful for because you always had it. So it's okay to not always have happiness in your life because when happiness finally comes, you don't take it for granted. It's okay to not have that love in your life right now because when that love finally does come, you cherish it. It's okay to not have money right now, because once that money does come, you cherish it. Okay, so if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That relationship wasn't meant to last because you were meant for someone greater. That friendship didn't last because they came into your life so you can learn something from them. That boyfriend or girlfriend didn't last because you were meant to learn something from that relationship, so that way you don't make the same mistakes with the person who is going to be your wife or husband. God is preparing you for something greater. Do not question his vision for your life. Trust in him. Change the way you look at your shortcomings. Change the way you look at your hurt and pain. Change the way you look at things that you lose. Because not everything you lose is a loss. Not everything you have is meant to stay. I interviewed for this insurance company, right, a couple years ago. I was very excited to interview for the company, and I really wanted to get the job. So I did the interview and I completely bombed it. I was nervous, I was stuttering, I felt like I didn't convey myself right. I was just so anxious, right? Well, I didn't get the job. I was sad. It was a hit to my confidence. I felt like I wasn't enough. But then just a few weeks later after that, I got a call from another insurance company that wanted to interview me, right? And this company, it paid better, it had better benefits, I just felt like the company culture was just better for me, and it was just a more stable company. But because I had a chance to interview at the first company, I was able to learn from my mistakes and do better for the second company. I basically had gotten all of my jitters out, all the nervousness out on the first interview, and learned from my mistakes from the first one, so I didn't make the same mistakes on the second one. Well, I ended up getting the job. I ended up getting the job from the second interview, and they ended up hiring me, and I had a great time there. So I would have never gotten the second job if I never interviewed at the first company, because I would have made the same mistakes. So it wasn't that I wasn't good enough for the first company. It was God or the universe basically saying to me, let's get this mock interview first before I give you the real deal. Let's get these jitters out so you can rock it the second time. So sometimes you aren't meant to get it the first time. If you knew that you weren't supposed to get it the first time, how much more grace would you give yourself? If I knew the first interview wasn't going to be my final, but it was supposed to be a mock interview for me to learn from my mistakes, would I have given myself more grace? Yes, I would have. I wouldn't have sat there for the next couple of weeks beating myself up because I was never supposed to get it the first time. I was never supposed to get that job. It was never meant to be. How much more grace would you give yourself if you knew that girlfriend or boyfriend was never supposed to be your wife or husband? They were just preparing you for your true soulmate. How much more grace would you give yourself? You see, you would gain so much more if instead of seeing stuff as you just not being enough, but instead you see it as an experience to learn and grow from, an experience that will help you in the future. Next is give yourself some damn respect. Come on now, give yourself some damn respect. Until you confront this feeling of inadequacy, you are always going to be looking out into the world in fear of who doesn't love you. Because you aren't going to believe me when I tell you that you are beautiful. You aren't going to believe me when I tell you that you are smart or that you are worthy. You're not going to believe it. Okay? The only way you're going to believe it is if you believe it within yourself. You're always going to feel like someone is out to get you, that there's always going to be someone in the world who's out to get you, or playing this victim mindset. And I know this because I sure didn't when people gave me a compliment. I would always try to find every reason as to why people were wrong about me, okay? Like if someone was like, oh, Devin, you're so pretty. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the makeup. Or, oh, you're so smart. And I'm be like, oh, yeah, just wait till you find out that I failed my math test in 8th grade. It's just like you're always just waiting for someone to take notice of the parts that you don't like about yourself. And then once they do, you think they're going to leave, or you push them away before they even have a chance to, right? Listen. You have to make peace with yourself. You have to make peace with yourself. If you don't love everything about you don't have to love everything about yourself, okay? You don't have to love everything about yourself. But you need to start giving yourself some damn respect. You are a work in progress, baby. We all are. You still deserve respect. Start believing that you deserve respect. You won't be able to avoid hurting, but you'll get better at it. You see, I used to, and still do a lot of times, do get hurt by the negative comments that people have made towards me. People love to make you feel like you aren't enough because they themselves don't feel enough. And there's always going to be someone out there trying to make you feel stupid are wrong, or that your opinions are wrong, or that you aren't as pretty as the next person, so you aren't worthy of a relationship, or you're not smart enough, so you're not going to get that job. There's always going to be someone trying to tear you down. But as I've gotten older, I have gotten better at hearing people's disapproval of me, people's insults towards me, or I'm able to hear them, but I have gotten better at not internalizing it, if that makes sense. Like, I've gotten better at not internalizing it. I've gotten better at hearing those, like, you know, rude, jokey comments, but not internalizing it, you know? And what I mean by not internalizing it is that I don't take what they have to say about me as who I really am as a person. You see, other people's opinions of you are ideas of you is just a projection of their experiences. You see, because I had this one person say that they thought I lacked empathy. But because they don't really know me, they took my very direct, straightforward form of communication as lacking empathy. Does that mean I'm not an empathetic person? No, because as humans, we all have empathy. Every single one of us. Empathy is not a all or nothing quality. I don't know why we think empathy is an all or nothing quality. Everyone has empathy except for, like, narcissists. Some just have more than others, okay? We have more empathy for certain things and less empathy for others. But I didn't take her comment and think, oh, I'm not an empathetic person, I'm a terrible person. That's just her experience with me. That's just her one day experience with me. I wouldn't be doing this character development videos right now if I lacked empathy for others. Basically, your value isn't going to decrease based on another person's inability to see your worth. So never put your time and energy into the hands of the ungrateful. So people are going to have a certain idea of you based on their own experiences. You experience yourself every single day for the last how many years you've been alive? And that's the thing. We are alive. You're alive. Do you want to know if your mission in life is complete? Here's a test. Do you feel pain? No, seriously, do you feel pain? Pinch yourself. Pinch yourself. Pinch yourself. Do you feel pain? Okay? Yes, I'm sure you feel pain, okay? Pain is proof that you are alive. Pain is an indicator that you are alive. And you being alive is proof that your mission here on earth is not complete. If your time here on earth was complete and done, you would not still be here on this earth. You would not feel pain. But there's a reason you feel pain. There's a reason you wake up every single day. There's a reason you're alive right now, and that's because your mission has not been completed. Until your mission is complete, you are still bringing value. You see, I'm not afraid of death, okay? I'm not afraid of death. There's people out here who are afraid of death. I'm not one of them. I am not afraid of death. I'm not, and that's how I know I have found my true inner peace, because I'm very just like whatever when it comes down to life. I'm not afraid of death because I know that if I die, that means my mission here on this earth has been completed and my soul is no longer needed here. The fact that I am still here means that there are still more people out there who need to hear me. There are still more people out there who need you. You have been placed here on our universe because you were sent here for something, to save a life, to make a person smile, to give someone hope. The decisions you make now could lead you to have a great-great-granddaughter who will be the first female president, who ends up solving world hunger. And you're telling me you aren't valuable? You just being here on this earth could bring someone so much happiness. One compliment you happen to tell someone, one compliment you happen to tell a stranger, a random stranger at the grocery store, could save their life. A smile you send their way could be the one thing that makes them feel seen, and now they won't go home and take their own life. You just saved someone's life by smiling at them, and you are telling me that you aren't valuable? We all need each other. Do you see how we all work together? If you aren't valuable, none of us are valuable. It is all or nothing. You are the only person on this earth who can determine your worth and define your success. There is not a single person on this planet who can tell you where it is that you are supposed to be and who you are supposed to be. Nobody has a book that says you are supposed to be married with 2 children in a 4-bedroom house in South Carolina by May 26, 2027. Nobody has a book that says that. No one has like this book that just tells us where we're supposed to be at any given moment, okay? Even if someone did tell you where it is that you need to be, you won't be fulfilled by that. See, you need to trust that feeling of, I am not fulfilled. That means you are on the wrong path. And that's the crazy thing. We get so caught up on trying to figure out who we are, right? Like, who am I? Who am I as a person? Who am I? Baby, you get to decide who you are. You can wake up one day and say, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I no longer want to work anymore. I no longer want to be in corporate America. You could say that. You're allowed to no longer feel fulfilled by things. You don't have to stay in a little box. Here's the thing. Society has really done a number on us. Really done a number on us. It's really made us think so small as humans. Like, us humans, we think so small. We don't even realize all that we are capable of. Look at how big the universe is, right? Just our universe is huge, and we get to be a part of it. We get to be a part of that. Stop thinking so small, okay? Don't strive to be happy. Strive to live. Sometimes you just need to stop striving to be happy all the time and just strive to live, to just wake up every single day. See, for me, I wake up every day and I don't strive for happiness. I just strive not to be sad. So at this point, I'm just trying to live life the best way I can, and I always strive to be the best I can. You know, some days I give 120%, some days I give 100%, others I give 10%, okay? It's up and down, right? It's up and down. You're fine, okay? Life is not that serious. Say it with me. Life is not that serious. Doesn't that just feel freeing? Doesn't it just take like this pressure off of you? Like, life is just not that serious. Just live life and feel all of your emotions. Stop trying to feel better and just get better at feeling. Me making money or having a fancy career isn't going to change any of my feelings, okay? I've tried to, I've reached all of my goals, and when I do, it's kind of like, okay, cool, what's next? None of it made me happy. None of it made me feel fulfilled for longer than a few months, okay? You don't just get happy. Happiness is something that is gently built over time. Happiness is something that you just have to gently build over time. You see, we often think, oh, if I make more money, then I'll automatically be more happy. Or, oh, if I wear better makeup and learn how to do my hair better, then, I'll be pretty, which will make people treat me better, and then I'll be more happy. Or if I get a car or a job or a man or a house, then I'll be happy. Listen, happiness isn't waiting for you on the other side of an opportunity. Happiness isn't where your career is. You have to slowly build happiness from within yourself. You build happiness when you start to become contingent with yourself. It's to wake up every day and be grateful that you have the opportunity to still be alive, to know that you are here to do something greater, to be special, to take the little things in life, like going for a walk and feeling at peace with yourself. You do that every day and you will slowly start to build your version of happiness. And I say your version of happiness. You see, we all have a different definition of what happiness is, okay? Words are made up, okay? Words are just man-made and we stick definitions to them. No, you get to decide what your definition of happiness is, and the next person gets to decide what their version of happiness is. And sometimes you have two different definitions of what happiness is, which is why you can't compare your life to someone else's. Happiness is an inside job. You can't assign someone else to do that job for you. You can't look to other people for happiness or to create your path. You see, what makes me happy might not matter to you, and what makes you happy might not matter to me. There are people who are driven by money, so everything in life, they make sure that money is a top priority because that's what makes them happy. So they will date for money, they will have a career that pays really good even if they don't like that career, as long as it brings them money. That's their driving force. For you, you might just be content with a simple life. Okay, you don't care about designer this and designer that. You're okay driving around in a little Kia Soul or a Hyundai. Okay, you don't care if your husband doesn't make a lot of money or, isn't a quote unquote like high value man, was what they call these days. You just want a spouse who will just come home to you at 5 p.m. and spend time with you, okay? Other people just want a spouse who makes a lot of money and brings home money and buys them gifts, okay? So why would you compare your spouse and lifestyle to someone else? Okay, don't be blind by other people's version of happiness just because the other person's version of happiness is shining brighter than yours and looks more expensive and glamorous. No, everything that glitters isn't gold. And sometimes gold doesn't look good on you. Sometimes silver looks better. But be contingent with your version of happiness. The parts you love about others already lives in you. When you are trying to find yourself and learn to see your value, you often already see it in other people. You love how, you look at a person and you love how energetic and outgoing they are. That energetic, outgoing personality already lives in you. You love how direct and honest a person is. Listen, that directness and honesty lives in you. You are inspired by a certain person's ambition and power. Those traits of ambition and power already lives in you. That person who is a go-getter and always down for adventure, that adventure lives in you. You wouldn't be able to recognize those traits if those traits didn't already live in you. And when you see those traits in others, it will either cause you to be jealous of that person or inspired by that person. Both are very important emotions, okay? You are jealous of for a reason. You are jealous for a reason. You are inspired for a reason. Those emotions are telling you something. The emotions is your soul saying, that is you. That is who you really are. Those traits live deep inside of you. Your ego is going to want to make those people your enemy, okay? Those people are, when you're jealous of a person, your ego is going to want to make that person your enemy. No. Look at that person as your friend. Look at that person as your mentor. Look at that person as your teacher. Let that person be your teacher. Let that person you are jealous of or inspired by be your teacher. Let that person help guide you deep into your true authentic self and allow yourself to unleash your true inner being. Unleash those traits, whatever those traits are, whether it be power, kindness, ambition, confidence, all of those traits. Unleash it. Stop suppressing it. Embrace it. It already lives in you. You wouldn't be able to recognize those traits if it didn't live in you. Whenever I was kind of going through like this feeling of just like not feeling enough, I often kind of felt like misunderstood and like people didn't see me. Like I felt like people saw me, but they didn't see me. And for people that often feel misunderstood in life, you know what I mean. Like where you're just like, people just don't see me. I always felt like when I would say something or try to explain something to someone, they just didn't understand me, or they do, but not in the way I wanted them to. I was always just like not being heard, and it's like, like, why don't you understand what it is that I'm trying to say? And it just makes you feel like I'm not being seen for who I really am. You know, you only see certain parts of me, but you don't see all of me. You know, you just see certain parts of me, but you don't see all of me. It's like I can write something or say something in my head, but once it comes out of my mouth, it just doesn't hit the same, you know? So, you know, you start to kind of feel lonely, right? But then I realized, you know, it's okay if you're misunderstood. You know, you don't have to be understood by everyone. You don't have to repeat yourself. You don't have to sound smart or try to articulate things in a way that makes you sound smart. It's okay to just say what's on your mind, and whoever is meant to hear you will hear you. You don't need to explain anything. Next is be the change you want to see. You see, we often want to go out and have all of these accomplishments, right? And then once we reach those goals, we still are not fulfilled. And then we go try to reach the next goal and the next and the next. When are you going to just stop and say, maybe it isn't my life that is lacking. Maybe it isn't my career that is lacking or my bank account. Maybe it's me. You see, it's easy to know when there is a lack, but harder to reach down into ourselves and see that the lack is coming from us first. I saw this quote that said, if you start to think that the problem is out there, stop yourself. That thought is the problem. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Question them. Question your thoughts every single time. And this is basically what I do a lot of the times, is every single thought that I have, I question myself. Let me give you an example, and like it's happening kind of like right now. And you have to be like really mindful of your thoughts a lot of the times. Like I'm not saying all the time you have to be mindful of your thoughts, but try to be mindful of your thoughts at least 50% of the time. And what I mean by that is, and I'll give you an example because I work better with examples. So like for example, right now, I don't like my face shape right now, okay? I'm telling myself like, oh my God, my face is like getting fat, you know, because I'm getting older, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think my face just does not have the structure that it used to. So I have to stop myself, be like, Devin, like why are you critiquing your face? Like what's going on? Like, oh, I don't like my face because I look older right now. Like I don't look the same as I did when I was 21. And it's like, okay, so it's like, okay, so why does that matter? Like why do you want to look younger? And it's like, oh, because a lot of people in this niche, in this personal development niche, are much younger, so I feel like I'm competing with them. Oh, okay, so you're comparing. You know, so that's kind of like what I mean by like question your negative thoughts, because it'll lead you to where you need to be. That is a feeling of not feeling like you're enough, and that comparison. So that's what I mean by question your negative thoughts. Constantly be questioning your negative thoughts. Don't let go of your negative thoughts, question them, and then I guarantee you they will let go of you. Your thoughts will steer you off your path, okay? So notice them before they consume you.